Yes, you guys, how you all doing tonight? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV, and welcome to the player ratings video after our 2-2 draw with Sheffield United. Now, before I get into things, remember, today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. Make sure to download the OneFootball app if you want to help me out and help support the channel as well, but also for the interactive content you get from the app after a match is over. You can vote for players who you thought should win man of the match. You can look at tactics, etc, etc. The OneFootball app is the perfect companion app to have. Find it in the link in the description below. And one more thing, I am now an official club merchandise affiliate, so if you guys want to buy any Chelsea merchandise for this season, you'll find the link in the description below. Anyway, getting straight into things, starting with Kepa in goal. I thought that Kepa looked more solid today, and I think what really helped him in today's game is the fact that we were constantly playing out from the back. Kepa had lots of passing options in front of him, with Jorginho dropping back into the defensive line, with guys like Cover and Barkley moving into midfield to become passing options. Kepa's passing was quite accurate and on point in today's game, and really, this is the main reason why we spent so much money on him in the first place, is for his passing ability out from the back. I thought he was commanding when it came to catching set pieces as well. My final rating for Kepa is going to be a 6.5 out of 10. Now, getting straight into Azpilicueta at right back, and I'm sorry to say, even though I am going to sound harsh, but Azpi was the main culprit as to why we didn't pick up all 3 points against Sheffield United. I keep saying it all the time, I don't think he complements the system of what we need. I'll give you guys a prime example. Whenever Tomori was on the ball, Lampard wants Azpilicueta to be in a higher up position so he can be a passing option to receive the ball. That's how we beat the press, that's how we start attacks, and Tomori was constantly pointing for Azpi to push up. How can that be the case? How can Tomori be telling Azpi what to do? And for me, it just sums up that the player just isn't suited to this style of football. But the disappointing thing is he keeps losing possession way too easily, and he doesn't win those crucial 50-50s like he used to. I don't think he's the same player, and for that reason, I'm going to be scoring Azpilicueta a 4.5 out of 10. Now, moving on to Tomori playing right centre back. I thought that Tomori was very confident in his first game. Honestly, his composure at the back, his passing ability, his passing technique, he moved the ball very quickly, and he made some crucial blocks and tackles as well during the game. When the game started to heat up and get more physical, Tomori stood out and was really competing against Sheffield United. It was a very promising display, and again, it is another byproduct of our fantastic academy. We produce footballers, and Tomori is a testament to this. However, there were a few mistakes to his game, but there's context behind it, and I'm not really going to be too harsh against him. At times, the defensive line, he wasn't in line, but at the same time, when is anyone in the back four constantly in line? Maybe Emerson. However, other than Emerson, the other players playing in the back four are constantly out of position whenever we need them to. However, other than Emerson, the rest of the guys in the back four, they tend to not be in position when you need them to be in them. So for that reason, I'm going to be scoring Tomori a 7 out of 10. Now, moving on to Zouma, I'm going to be controversial with my rating. But, I need to be honest. I'm always going to be honest by giving my opinion. I thought that Zouma was good. I know that he was critiqued for his passing, but I seem to remember him moving the ball very quickly, very accurately as well. He helped start attacks from deep. I saw him finding passes to guys like Mason and Cover plenty of times. I know at times maybe he passes the ball back, but as I keep stressing, we used to have David Luiz, and I think we're holding some of our defenders to Luiz's passing standards. Luiz is unique. Luiz plays balls that Luiz only can do. Other defenders can't do that, so at times when Zouma's being criticised for not playing a spectacular pass, come on, he's not that type of player, and I don't think it's fair. For that reason, I'm going to score Zouma a 6.5 out of 10. And to complete the back four, moving on to Mr. Reliable himself, and I think that's definitely a title he deserves right now. That's none other than Emerson, and Emerson is on point, you guys. He really is Mr. Reliable. I've been so impressed by his defensive game. He's always on point. He's always winning those 50-50s. He understands how to play that role perfectly to a T. He helps support the attack, but I just love how he plays the game. You know, he's skillful, his first touches, the little like step over skills he does. He's a very classy player to watch, and I always knew that Emerson had it in him to really show us his real level. And now that Lampard's here, Emerson can really show everyone what he's really about. For that reason, I'm going to score Emerson a 7 out of 10. Now, moving on to the midfield, starting with Kovacic, and for me, it was very impressive. Very impressive from an offensive point of view. From a defensive point of view, and again, it does feel harsh to critique him for this. It's not his fault, he's not that type of player, but you know, during the defensive phase where we're caught on the transition, is he really as helpful? I don't think so, but again, someone like Kova needs to play alongside a Kante. You could say the same thing for Jorginho as well. So at times they are going to be overextended. You know, there's a lot of pressing responsibilities they need to have, but they're not the strongest players. They're not going to win all those 50-50s. And of course, when it comes to positional sensing behind, I mean, they're not going to be perfect when it comes to that. That's the reality. But, you know, we need to focus on how Kova played from an offensive point of view. And honestly, he was so crucial in helping us transition from defense to attack. You know, there's so much space in the middle. He was constantly able to use his great dribbling ability to great effect. You know, the Sheffield United players couldn't get the ball from him. He was strong in keeping the ball as well and really helped kickstart a lot of very good attacks for us. You know, as I keep saying, Kova looks like a young Luka Modric. He's of that same ilk. Very good player, and for that reason, I'm going to score Kova a 7 out of 10. Now, moving on to Jorginho, and I like Jorginho from an offensive point of view. You know, he was really good at helping us start attacks from deep, received a lot of passes from our centre-backs and from the goalkeeper as well. And I kind of like seeing Jorginho moving in that defensive line. I think that's really his best position, starting attacks from areas like that, helping us beat the opposition press. I think that Jorginho is showing his merits playing in a pivot. His passing range and his work rate have been very good, but you know, in football at this level, we need to look at their off-the-ball work, especially in the defensive phase. And Jorginho is someone that really struggles to pick up runners when they make runs in behind him. You know, at times he's not winning all those 50-50s that he needs to win as well. And he leaves too much gaps in behind the defence. You know, he doesn't give them enough protection. I hope that's an area that Jorginho can get a bit better in. I don't think he's ever going to do that. I think his best position is playing as a regista where, you know, he has the responsibilities of being the playmaker at the back. You know, I like him. He's a very good player, but, you know, we need to understand that at this level, we need to pay great respect to the defensive phase. And I'm sounding like Conte right now, but you guys, for that reason, I need to score Jorginho a 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to Ross Barkley, and wow, Dross came back today, you guys. I know I'm being a little bit mean. You know, Barkley was trying to be inventive. His application, as I'm always saying, his application is on point. Is there, and his close control was quite nice at times. However, every time it comes to making the right decision, making the right pass, he's never doing it. He keeps breaking down way too many attacks, and you know, if we're playing a style of football where we need to have a lot more responsibility in the offensive phase, then we can't afford to have players doing the wrong things at the wrong times. And today that was Ross Barkley. For that reason, I'm going to score Ross a 5 out of 10. Now moving on to Christian Pulisic, and Pulisic had small, brief moments during this game. All the good stuff Pulisic did was whenever he moved in more central positions. However, I think there is context in regards to why he struggled out wide. A lot of times, you know, Sheffield United players were 2v1 against him, and as I was saying in the match review, you really need the fullback making an overlapping run to help be that third man runner, to give space for Pulisic to get past his man. That wasn't the case. I think that he is struggling with the intensity of the league. Listen, he needs a period where he can adjust. He's still very young. I'm not really fussed. I'm not upset by him. There is a lot of context. I think as fans, we need to understand that and respect that as well. But, you know, I think the one disappointing thing for me was Pulisic in the defensive phase. I'm saying that word a lot today. And I'm saying that because we keep conceding goals due to the team. Yeah, individuals play a part as well, but as I keep saying, in modern day football, you start defending from the top. the minute certain players aren't fully doing that, it means that you put more pressure on other defenders behind you. If they get too much pressure, they're going to be more susceptible to making mistakes, and for that reason, I'm going to score Pulisic a 5 out of 10. Now, moving on to Mason Mount, and for me, he's a player that you can just rely upon. You know, in the final third, he rarely makes mistakes. He understands what positions to be in. He understands how to take men away to create space for other players. His shooting technique's on point as well. Plus, Mason Mount does have great close control. In today's game, he used his skill in two very good moments. And yeah, I thought it was a decent display. And if he had better attacking support around him, if Pedro was playing, and you know, Pedro, this movement in behind is very crucial in regards to creating spaces between the lines, then maybe Mason would have had much more touches of the ball in today's game. But regardless, I thought the guy played well, very good, and for that reason, I'm going to score Mason Mount a 7 out of 10. And to end things with the first team, moving on to Tammy Abraham, and I thought Tammy Abraham really showed why this kid has a lot of potential. He can do everything. He can hold the ball up, bring people in. He has pace, he's got skill, he can run in behind. You know, and I love his instincts inside the box. It's very hard to coach players to have that type of instincts, but Tammy has that in abundance. He's got it. He knows where to find the net. And he was very unlucky not to get a hat-trick today. Very unlucky. He would have been extremely deserving. I'm just happy to see how he develops. You know, my target for him was to get 15 goals in all competitions this season. It seems like he's on target to meet that, and I'm very happy to see. He's one player where by the time he's 25 years old, who knows just how good he's going to be. For today's score, I'm going to give Tammy Abraham an 8 out of 10. Now, to end things quickly with the manager rating and the subs as well. Now, moving on to Billy Gilmour, and I think certain people were surprised to see him actually make his debut today, and he had every reason to. You know, we were very thin when it came to midfield players. We know that Kante's out. We know that Ruben's out. Barkley, I mean, we used a lot of midfield players today, so it meant that naturally we had to rely upon a midfield player. Was he the reason why we conceded goals? No, not at all. I thought he came on, he was confident, but I think what really affected him, as I was stressing, was the lack of passing options, and that's because Azpi just wasn't there on the right hand side, and Azpi not attacking down the flank down the right hand side has been an issue for a very long time now. I think for a few seasons, we constantly see images and clips of players pointing down the right hand side saying, Azpi, where are you? And when one player doesn't fulfill what he needs to do, it affects how another player plays. And at times, Billy Gilmour was forced into areas where he had to just keep hold of the ball, waiting to find a passing option. I don't think it was as fair on him at times, but still, he looked very solid, he looked very confident. For that reason, he'll get a standard rating of 6 out of 10. And to end things now, moving on to Frank Lampard himself. Now, he's definitely going to score marks with a tactical setup today. We did very well stopping Sheffield United for most parts of the game, playing their natural game, and we stopped them from having fun down the flanks. Still though, it came to the second half, and you know, I think we have to sympathise with Frank. We need to understand that he doesn't have the options on the bench that he would like to have. You know, there's so many injuries to key players. You need to realise that, you know, a Barkley would be on the bench, for example. Maybe a Pulisic might be on the bench as well. A few of these guys would, and I think that a lot of them would benefit coming on as subs and starting games. But I don't know, maybe one error that Lampard made was not playing Willian down the right hand side. I think that when you could see that Sheffield United were focusing all their attacks down that side, you already know that Azpilicueta doesn't suit the system. You know that he struggles. You know he's the main reason why we're conceding goals. I think instead of having Pulisic helping to defend that side, more experience would have been used, and I think Willian would have done much better coming on, tracking runs, and I think that Sheffield United don't get that final opportunity to get the equaliser. For Lamp's final score, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. And on that note, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. If you like today's video, smash that like button. I'd like to get 1,500 likes, so if you guys want to back it, I'd really appreciate it. I'm NiniFC, this is Behind TV. Signing out.